And we're live. And today is going to be a special day because we're going to get to talk to Brian Tolbert. And if you don't know Brian, you should follow Not Quite Lost on Instagram. Brian is a ultra runner, outdoorsman, mustache having guy, so you should be interested. You should check him out. And you're going to learn a little bit more about him today, as I am. And he's here, so I'll just go ahead and add him in. And let's add you in. Let's see what's going on out in Utah. Haber. It's our second guest from Haber. There he is.
What up?
Our second guest from Haber, Utah.
Heber, man. Heber.
Heber. See, I need some help.
That's right. We'll help you out. We'll keep you in the loop there.
All right, cool. I like your shoe display.
Thanks. You know how it goes. I wanted to be like you.
Yeah, I want to be like you. You want to be like me. I tried to grow the mustache. Didn't work out. Didn't look great. Kind of, just came in gray and sparse.
It takes a special type of ugly to run a mustache. That's what
yeah. I've seen you without the mustache. You're also a fine-looking gentleman, so you got it going both ways.
Yeah, it's all right. We'll do all right. So, how's it going?
Does your wife have a preference?
It was like a Cold War when I first, rocked it. I didn't think she'd stay with it, and she didn't think I'd stay with it. And then all of a sudden, it got to the point where we had the Christmas cards when pictures were to be taken, and she was like, I was literally we were just waiting each other out. And then we made the first Christmas card, and then it was just on. And then when I shaved here, she was like, "No, you need to get that back. That's weird." I mean, I got 2 kids who'd never seen me without one, so it was
probably freaked him out.
Yo, it totally freaked him out.
Yeah. Speaking of cool pics, you did that shoot. You have a photographer friend where you kind of did some Western looking photos.
Yeah.
What was that all about?
So I have a really great friend, Ben Christensen, who's an uber talented photographer, and we actually met. He used to work for Backcountry and was my neighbor, and so we used to do shoots for them all the time because they're a Utah-based company as well. And he has a real passion for Western photography and just the Western culture. And I grew up on a farm, and I grew up we raised mules actually, and horses, and so I had a little bit in that background and all that, but he makes me look way cooler. And
those photos were really slick.
Yeah, he's phenomenal. He makes everybody look cool. So most of the time those photos though are all from the chest up, and I'm wearing running shorts below.
Cowboy on top, runner on the bottom.
It happens. So
how long have you been in Utah?
I grew up here. So,
and your family before you?
Yeah, I mean, that's where they've been generations. Literally my parents' farm is a mile down the road.
Oh wow. So still in Heber.
Yep, straight in Heber. My little sister has a pie shop here in town in Heber. It's a little, we're a little small town. It's great. It's kind of weird, moving back. We've been back 10 years, but moving back to the place where you grew up, went to high school, it's a small town. So there were some, a lot of stuff comes back to haunt you sometimes. And so.
But you, in the meantime, you got into running a little bit later, right?
Oh yeah, way late. I didn't start till, I've only been running 5 years.
Okay.
And I'm 30, I'll be 39 this year. So I'm an old man. So I literally didn't I didn't run in high school. I didn't run in college. I didn't run at all. I was a cyclist. That's where I grew up. I started racing bikes at 12 years old.
So how did you go from a guy 5 years ago who didn't run to a sponsored athlete? How did that happen?
I don't know, man. It's a little wild. I think. I mean, I was an okay bike racer. I was a mid-pack regional professional racer. Didn't make any money really at it. I was always kind of top 10 in regional races, top 30 national races, but never really good. I missed my window to make the national team as a junior, and that was kind of it. That was about the best I was. And so my little brother actually, he's quite a bit younger than me, 14 years younger than me. And so when I was in my 20s, my little brother was coming up, and he raced bikes. We dragged him around to all the bike races and stuff. But then he was also a really good swimmer. So naturally, I kind of bumped him into triathlons and all that stuff. And he actually excelled really good. Like he went to 2 or 3 world championships, was 7th in the year, like really good. And like, so I kind of coached him through the cycling stuff and even a little bit of running. And then I just like, he swam. I didn't know nothing about swimming. And so when he got done with juniors and that, he kind of pushed me to try for Xterra, because I was kind of getting bored. I've been to the same, literally driving to the same, traveling the same races all the time. And like, I don't know, like it got a little bit boring, and my kids were getting older, and like, it was not as easy to like just rally with like 5 dudes and cram in a dirtbag hotel and go race on the weekend and come back. Like my kids were old enough, like they wanted to start coming, and like, it was just harder to do. And I wanted to involve them more. And so we started trying to training to do Xterra triathlons and age grouping and masters racing there, and which is pretty competitive. And that's what my little brother was doing. And so it was kind of fun that way, except that I found out I'm like the worst swimmer ever. Like the worst.
I guess you need to know how to swim.
Yeah. So, and like, I was like, I'm dumb. I was like, you know what? I can do this. Like I can swim. Like I'm just going to put my head down. I'm going to do the work. Like I'm going to learn how to swim, put all my training effort into that. And like, just boom, boom, boom. Nah, I've spent 6 months like going through, like literally I hadn't put my face in the water. Like I didn't swim at all. And then I went all the way 6 months, had a coach, like was decent in a pool, went to my first open water world's qualifier for Xterra down in Vegas, lined up on the second row thinking I was going to be 750 people in the waves. And I was like, yeah, I'm fine. Dude made 2 strokes, just got pummeled again.
Wow.
Dude, I never swam in the open water. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna die. I was like trying to backstroke. Like by the time it was done, like literally all but 2 people had passed me, and the other 2 people were 78 and 85.
Wow.
And it was bad. And so like, my family like left. Like my mom was there, and she was like, this is embarrassing. Like at one point I was so far off course, they actually thought I was swimming to them. Like I was just gonna give up. It was bad.
That's crazy.
So that led me to running a little bit. Like, so then I was like, I'm never doing triathlons again because I hate swimming. But I'm like, this trail running thing's pretty cool. Like, it's kind of different, something fun. And so I started picking up a few races around here. And like, in Utah has a really good trail racing scene. Like, and we have obviously a lot of great trails. I live on the backside of the Wasatch Range, and so I have great mountains to run in and stuff. So I just started trying to figure out how to move fast in the mountains, and found out really quickly that like what I had learned years racing bikes training wise didn't exactly apply to trail running. Like I got myself really overtrained pretty quickly.
Oh wow.
Because my body wasn't adapted to it, right? Like I was used to racing in bikes like literally twice a week for like 7 or 8 months of the year, and no big deal. So like I was pretty adapted. It was pretty efficient. Like, but when I moved to running, it was completely a different program. And so I had like, I actually tapped into a coach after the second season. Like I'd had enough success. I was like, all right, like I need to do something towards it. Like I need to get after it. And like, if I want to make and really make an effort at it, I probably need a coach. And so I met with a handful of different coaches and ended up with who's become a really good friend of mine, Ty Draney, who's a real accomplished like OG in the trail running world, especially in the West. Lots of 100-milers, but he's also like the Wyoming cross country and track state, or the coach of the year. And his coach like camps in these little small towns. And like, that was a bigger thing to me, because there's a lot of like ultra runners out there that like are coaching. That doesn't mean just because you're a good runner mean that like you're a good coach.
I think it's the craziest thing, because I've noticed the same thing in coaching. You'll get some coaches that like they're fast runners, they know how they've been trained, they've been coached. But like Phil Jackson was no Michael Jordan.
No.
But seemed to do all right.
Exactly. Like that, it doesn't translate necessarily. And so like, and I'd been around the endurance sports long enough that like I talked to a lot of coaches, and I knew that like you need to kind of fit with them, and they need to understand your schedule. They need to understand, like, you know, I got a real job, I got 4 kids, like I can't have the high volume like that. Like I'm just not doing how to do it. And so Ty and I just clicked, and he's become a great friend as well. And he has kids and he has a job, you know, he's a coach and that. And so he's fit it all into it. And he has an amazing, like, he's literally like been there, done that on every.
Is he in Utah, or do you train kind of remote?
Yeah, I've trained remote. So he's in Wyoming. So he sends me training plans. We get out and we adventure together and run together a couple times a year. And we talk quite a bit, but he's just, he's out and about, and just sends stuff to me remotely, watches my Strava and watches everything else that goes on there. But it's getting a good plan for me. I mean, I've been at it a long time. I don't need like a coach with me, like blowing a whistle. Like, been at it. I can kind of get that part of it.
Yeah. It's when you have a problem, you go to him and say, hey, this is what I'm dealing with. And
or he'll look at a workout and go like, what happened there? And I'm like,
yeah,
mess. It was sucked. I know it was horrible, but,
so that's how you get to trail running, is kind of through the Xterra situation. By the way, I signed up for my first half Ironman that was supposed to happen in June. It's been canceled, but the swim was scaring the crap out of me. Like I'm like, I know that once I get on the bike, I'm fine. I know once I get on the road, I'm fine. A mile swim, because it's the half, a mile swim still seems like
it's a long way.
Yeah. Well, you could run a mile pretty quickly. You can bike a mile really quickly. Swimming, I mean, if you swim a mile quick, you're still, what's a good time for like a mile swim?
It's still like 20 minutes. I don't know.
Yeah. That's a long time to be in the water.
Things like the thing that really got me is like I use breathing to like control my heart rate and do those things, and like that's where like when I couldn't have my own breath pattern and was having to breathe, you know, stroke, breathe, stroke, breathe, whatever, those kind of things, are getting messed up, kicked or whatever, like that's where it freaked me out.
Panicking,
like,
yeah.
That's how I do it in cycling. That's how I do it in running. It's
so
weird.
That's interesting. Let's talk about the breathing a little bit, because you know, things go in vogue and out of vogue, and people talk about what's you know, great for training or what. And breathing was a big thing for a little while. Now it seemed to be, it kind of went quiet for a little bit, but now with like mindfulness and being in the moment and stuff, breathing's coming back. How do you use breathing in running?
Oh, I've always used it for a long time, just in controlling in those moments of just like bringing it down and bringing your heart rate down and doing those kind of things. But it's been especially late, you know, with mindfulness kind of picking back up. And then we have some great folks at the UA Performance Center who have been doing a bunch of studies on it. And so the breathing and doing all that stuff, like it's a skill that I'm working on every day now, trying to do, you know, when I'm warming up, when I'm cooling down, in the morning, when I wake up, when I go to sleep, like just trying to control the breathing, using it through your nose, doing some breath holds, doing some things.
Do you run through your nose, or do you have your mouth open when you're running?
Recovery runs, I actually try to. Yeah, like
that's so tough.
Kind of good. It's a kind of a good like limit, like
right? You from going too fast, yeah.
Going too hard on those, and so you can just breathe. And that actually came from Kyle Dietz, who, I don't know if you guys, he's the one, trail fighter. He's the one who's on all the UA stuff with all the tattoos. He's one of
yeah, Kyle. I think wait, Kyle, not Kyle that had the
Kyle.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Man, that's a crazy story, isn't it?
Dude, the craziest. Yeah. I mean, he's one of my best friends. I mean, he's the reason I'm on Under Armour.
So people who don't know who Kyle is, Kyle had a brain tumor.
Yeah. Well, and if you can, I was a professional fighter, ultimate fighter, then came to trail running. And then 2 years ago, just, you know, I knew him before, you know, I've known him for 3 or 4 years now. And like, we traveled and done a lot of cool stuff. And like, he started getting weird, like started like really like being distant and like kind of all over the place. And we knew something was kind of funky. And what we found out, he ended up having an orange sized tumor in behind his eyeballs, actually.
And this is a guy that was super fit.
Oh, like crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Still fit, like going into, and it was just like, it was a weird, I mean, weirdest deal ever.
And comes through it, and now he's back pretty much, right? Would you
Yeah.
say?
Out crushing it. His sight's a little wonky still, but other than that, like he's out crushing it on the roads and getting after it. So he's a huge inspiration to me. But like,
and you say he brought you into Under Armour?
Yeah, he actually he and I became friends. We raced a couple of races together and became good friends, and then did some projects together. And we kind of came officially together on Under Armour when he did the Dominica project, when he tried, there's a 100+ mile trail system in Dominica in the Caribbean. And he was trying to set the record on that. And so I went down to pace him and do all that. And that was kind of what brought me on to Under Armour. Before that, Solomon for a year and tinkered around with that. But
how is that? You know, a lot of runners have passion for the sport, want to get involved, want to get sponsors, want to get people to back them and support them during their runs. How has becoming an Under Armour athlete helped you with your pursuit of running?
Oh, I mean, just the capabilities that Under Armour has provided for me, and honestly provide for me and my family. Because when we came to running, it was, you know, I have a job. Like I have a normal job. Like this isn't paying the bills for me. This isn't sending my kids to college. Like I still am working a normal job in the tech industry as a sales rep. And but what they provided me was the opportunity to travel and bring my kids, and to see parts of the world and see these races where they're amazing things. And like between that and then, you know, the amazing gear and then the support of like our performance center and our teams behind us that help the athletes is amazing. And especially like last year, like I spent it out with an Achilles. I ruptured my Achilles last spring, and they were huge to get me back to where I am.
Yeah. And that was after the pothole
in Baltimore. Yeah. So I blew up my ankle in the potholes of Baltimore. That freaking place. I've raced 2 road races in my whole life. That's it. I've never towed the line. And I spent the summer running. I feel like I'm pretty competent. I specialize in like technical trail races, like sky running, like the most technical races in the world. And yeah, I go to
you got lulled to sleep.
Yeah, I go to Baltimore and race the half marathon and freaking roll my ankle and bust my ankle up in a pothole in the last half mile of the half marathon.
Yeah, that was the worst. I felt bad for you. I mean, I was like, here he comes to Baltimore. His experience is landing his foot in a pothole. Yeah. I mean, and the worst part, was it towards the beginning or the end of the race?
Right at the end, like literally, like the last downhill, and then you turned the corner. So I finished, and it was like tears in my eyes. I was like, this is not a normal, because like, you know, you roll your ankle all the time, and I'm like, this wasn't it. Like it was like bad, and it was swole up immediately. And like, so I was hobbling in, and I still ran like, I think I ran like a 112 or something. Like I ended up 7th, I think.
Oh, that's sick. That's just sick.
I felt like I was strong, but I was like, oh my gosh, this is so. And I literally came right across. Jamie Chris was there, and I was like, Jamie, this is bad. Like I need help. Like in team manager, and like she like got me. Her and Hannah got me like to a ambulance, and like they took me in an ambulance to like the emergency room, and we're immediately like.
I mean, I have to tell you, if I was in trouble in Baltimore, and I could have 2 people to help me out,
yeah,
Hannah and Jamie might be your top picks.
Oh,
like
100%. Yeah, Jamie. If I'm in trouble anywhere, Jamie and Hannah are like my top picks. Like I'm called anywhere, I'm like, yeah, I don't know what to do. Where you at?
Jamie will be there.
Oh yeah, she's got me back always. So
yeah. So that's cool. So Under Armour basically as a sponsor, and we met, the first time we met was at I always forget the name of it, and Jamie got mad at me last time when we were doing the mountain series, the very first Mount Bachelor.
Mount Bachelor, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, you have like a thick family, like a not, and I'm not just talking about your wife and stuff, like a family of trail runners. Like
Yeah.
when you see you, you got a little group of family, and it was probably Kyle
Yeah.
and a couple other guys.
Arrows Run Crew, like that's we're tight. Like they are family. Like it's a tight group, and yeah, it's a good time between them, and then like the resident runners. Those guys are my brothers too. Like those guys are some of my favorite people in the world too. Like there's a couple of we have a pretty tight knit group of folks. It's in the running world that we roll with and have a good time. And
do you feel like it's different? Like you've been in the cycling world, and you've done the that kind of stuff. Is the running community different from like cycling as far as like friends and tight groups?
I literally like grew up in the cycling world, so it was hard. Like I had the same group of guys that we traveled with from 12 till we were 30. And
wow.
Like the same group of guys we would ride with and train with. And that was one of the biggest things I missed when I moved to running is like, I could go to a cycling race anywhere in the country and know somebody or know somebody of somebody and like be pretty well adapted. I would go to these running races, and first time I'm just like kind of sitting on the start line by myself, not talking to like, okay. And these guys, all these guys took me under their wings and like really showed me and brought me into the family. Hey, within.
I mean, it's weird. It's weird when you forget when you first start running. It's kind of intimidating.
Oh yeah.
Everybody looks like they know what they're doing. They know where to pin their bibs. They know where to do their stuff. And you line up, and you're like, and when you find your family, I think that's why you grow so tight with them because,
Well, and there's something too to be said about like shared suffering, right? Like in deep spots together, and especially like not even the races as much as like we'll go on these adventure runs where it's like all day, like epic, like 30, 40 miles, and you're all day, you're out of food, and everybody blows up at some point together. Like we're all together, but we're all, somebody's dying, and it's just like you have this shared sense of like you band together, and there's something to it. So
yeah. with what's going on right now, obviously a lot of races are canceled.
Yeah.
Utah's a little more spread out than the rest of the country, and trail runs are a little more spread out than say, major marathons,
yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
Do you hear like, hey, let's get this stuff going again? Are you guys hearing any grumblings?
So we're actually hearing, so oddly enough, like Utah, and actually the county I live in is one of the hottest spots in the country. Like we were the top 3, 2 counties and us in New York City. And
what do you think that was?
I think it's the proximity that we had, and it was near the ski resorts. So we had a lot of tourist traffic, which caused it to upswing. Like Sundance Film Festival is here, and that was big. That was right at that's the end of February, and that was a big for us. And so we had a big hotspot. Actually, I mean, like my mom still has it right now. Like she's
Corona.
Yeah, it's been 8 weeks, man. It's brutal. Yeah, and she's been right on the borderline of being hospitalized. We've been able to keep her out and keep her quarantined away, but yeah, it's been gnarly a bit that way. So, but
crazy.
But we're starting to get so I actually heard we're gonna get some races in June, and I actually heard there's gonna be some trail races, destination trail races, maybe down in southern Utah that are starting up.
Yeah, I think I got an email for something like that, but yeah, so that's near you.
Yeah, so it's like 4 hours south or so, and they're going to start in waves, and it's going to be a little different. I think they're going to go through protocols. I think there's since there's some of the first ones, I think there's a lot of people just sitting back and watching.
Let's see what happens.
Like, how are aid stations going to work? How are you going to wave start? How are you going to make sure that is? I mean, luckily with trail running, like once you get out, like you're pretty spread out. Like it's not that big.
Especially if you're my pace, you're usually all by yourself anyway. I mean, when we were at Mount Bachelor, I was in the woods by myself. There's nobody around me.
Yeah, I never puked so hard in my life as that stupid race. horrible.
Yeah, I mean, logistically, I can almost imagine how you could help out with, like, even with the trail race, you could have individual bags for people at the stops. Like, it's manageable. I don't know that running races are there yet. Obviously, you could, test people's temperatures and stuff before the race and that kind of stuff. But
so hard in it. I mean, the sheer numbers and condensed space of those major marathons. I don't know how you do it. Like,
yeah, I
I
think
mean,
that's a vaccine. I think we gotta be into a vaccine by then. But I mean, it does sound positive. Did you hear about the Spartan race?
no,
Okay, so Spartan's reopening in Jacksonville, and they're just like, if you
wow.
want to live the Spartan life, you just run. Like, don't worry about a virus.
I don't know how I feel about that one, man. I mean, it's hit pretty close to home, and like I'm all for, like, we all need to just chill and like come at it easy. Like let's see what this thing. We don't know what it's gonna do, so let's be.
I think it's difficult, depending on, and I don't want to get into a whole Corona conversation, but it gets difficult because somebody who has Corona, and I don't.
Yeah.
And so if I'm looking at it from my myopic view, I'm like, what is this? Nobody's got this. My neighbors look fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's our part, and I totally get that, and I would be in that same boat, honestly. But it definitely, and honestly, like, I'm really blessed. Like, right, my job, I work from home anyway, so like my job hasn't changed. Like,
Yeah.
I'm still employed. Like, all these things. So it hasn't had that effect on me. Honestly, I don't want to. I don't want to be a political leader on these. Like, this is the hardest decision. Like, you're putting price on people's lives. Like, I don't. That's tough, man. I don't want to do that. And trail running and that kind of stuff. I'm like, running race. I'm like, like, these are luxuries.
Yeah.
And done. Like, I don't know. I'm a little bit on a wait and see. I mean, I love racing. Like, I would race every week if I could. Like, that's my favorite thing to race. Anything I'll race, and but I'm a little leery to go back.
Well, are you getting together with any of your friends and doing small group runs or anything yet?
Yeah, like 1 or 2, 3, and like the thing that we're lucky with trail running is like adventure races and FKT, like not races, but adventure runs and like FKT attempts are as much competitive as we have in other places. Like they're as competitive as races are, and like you get to go cool places. There's still the same kind of planning, the same kind of nutrition, the competition side of it. And so I've got a bunch of those kind of projects in the wings right now. We're gonna go do a whole traverse of a mountain range in northern Utah in a couple of weeks, and loop it on bicycles and try and set an FKT there. With Ty Draney, my coach, is going to be there, and then Luke Nelson, who runs for Patagonia, who's another great friend of mine.
How far is it to drive from Wyoming to Utah?
Like the border, Wyoming's less than an hour from my house. And Ty lives just south of like Jackson Hole, Teton National Park, and he's like 3 hours from me. So
it's not a big deal. Hop in the car.
No, drive everywhere. Like, this is the West, man, dude. We drive. That 3, 4, 5 hour drive is not a big deal. Like, that's just how it's around here.
Dude, I go nuts in cars. I have the toughest time traveling in cars.
Man, I love a good road trip, especially right now. Like, I'm looking so forward to a road trip.
Well, how many kids do you have right now?
I got 4 kids.
All right, so 4 kids and a wife. You go out and adventure race with the boys. It's like a long golf trip.
Yeah, it's like, we're doing it over a weekend. Luckily, like, my wife is the most patient person in the world, like the most, but to put up with all the crap. But like Luke Nelson, he has 3 kids that are the same age as my kids, my older kids, and his wife's a really good friend of my friend. So like, there's some strategic moves there. Like, the girls and all the kids, they're gonna go hang out, and
it's great for the kids.
And Luke and I, that gives us a green light for Luke and I to go do all kinds of stupid stuff.
Yeah, so, someone's commenting that FKT is fastest known time.
Yeah.
So I mean, you can. It doesn't never apply to. I guess it doesn't really apply to road racing, But yeah, I mean, there's challenges all over the country for FKTs.
Yeah.
Uh, you know,
And that's what's fun is like it can be anywhere. Like I did an FKT on a loop in my backyard trails. Like these are trails that are just that I train on all the time, and literally like it's a 20-mile loop, and I put it out there, and there's been a guy I've been battling back forth on the loop on the time, and went after it again, and it's awesome.
yeah. Well, I guess you could equate it to large Strava segments.
Yeah, yeah. That's exactly what it is. And in fact, that's how we track it. It's a big segment.
Oh, that's awesome. And you know what? It's funny because we're seeing a lot like that. Obviously, there was a peak in people going after Strava segments,
Yeah.
Around here. So that's great. It does, it's interesting. Let's see if there's some questions for you.
Yeah.
All right. This one you knew was coming.
What's the best way to grow a mustache like mine?
Yeah.
Don't shave. I mean, like there's no
the best way would be go to sleep for like 6 months, and when you wake up, have somebody trim it up nice, right?
Yeah, that's the key there.
Yeah, that was Taylor who quoted on the fastest known time. Do you know Taylor Borden who does some reviews for us?
Yeah, I think so. I think I met him one time, maybe when I was out there before.
Yeah, he's a good guy. All right. I don't know what this means, but I figured maybe you do. From Muzzle and Hawk, which sauce is boss? Not a personal one? I thought maybe that was a personal one.
You said these were grilling questions.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, what
I don't know. Like that's what I use. Traeger sauce for smoking. There we go.
All right. Dude, people, if you had any question, if you want to talk to your wife whether or not your mustache is something you got to keep, I think it's a trademark now.
It is. In fact, I had when we were first doing some of the new shoes, like I had a mustache on the shoe for me. So the crew did.
That's pretty badass.
Yeah.
Did you see Coach Bennett actually commented on the post?
I did, and I'll take that as a compliment because that man has a fine mustache.
He does, and he's a nice guy too.
No, yeah.
So you guys share that in common. Mustaches. I've seen yours, Jared Ward's, and his up close, and I'd have to say you and Coach Bennett are above Jared Ward. So you're beating Jared at something
going on. Like he's kind of got that ginger.
Yeah, it's not. He doesn't have the fullness that you guys have. All right.
The best compliment I ever got was down because Jared lives 30 minutes from me. Hey, that far from me. My little brother's just graduated from BYU, and so I was down there running, and oh yeah, hey Jared Ward. I was like, hey? I'm like, yeah, no, I didn't. Yeah, for sure. I'll take that all day long.
Yeah, absolutely, man. He's a boss. All right, tips or tricks to training at an elite level with a family and a job.
Ooh, don't sleep. I mean, I don't know. That's honestly, it's a juggle. It's family, it's your work, it's training, and it's all these things. And it is a juggle. And when the balance comes, it's pretty great when it all works out. But there's a lot of times, man, I'll be ready to do a workout at lunch and work's crazy. And also I'm still sitting in my running gear at 6 o'clock at night. I haven't eaten because I thought I was going to go train and do a hard workout. And I don't know, man, it's don't sleep is probably the thing. I get up real early, or I'll put the kids to bed and I'll train at night. I'll go on long runs at night. Go at 10 o'clock, come back at 4 in the morning, and you just try and fit it in. I think one of the keys for me has been with my kids is showing them I'm open with them what our training is, what we're doing, what those things, because they travel also to all the races with me, and I want them to see what it looks like why you work so hard for something, and that if you the things you do, and you can work hard if you put big, scary, ugly goals out there, you can work really hard for them and do all that. So it's your kids about it.
That's the thing. I think I have 2 boys, and I try to instill in them. Even at my level, I'm not competing for, cash prizes or anything like that. It's just to put the work in and then to see the rewards from it. And I don't think there's a more valuable lesson that you can teach someone about finding a passion and going after it.
Yeah, and I think that's getting crushed. I mean, that's last year, that was the hardest thing for me. I mean, I was 6 weeks away from a 100-miler of the season, and I did a full rupture of my Achilles, which is like, it's over. Like, that's it. Like, I didn't even put weight on my foot for 4 months. Couldn't even put weight on it, let alone a boot. And I didn't run a step for 9 months.
Wow.
Hardest thing, honestly, for me was not having that goal and not having those things out. Because like, right, like I plan out my whole year in advance. Like I only get a couple of shots, and it's usually, big races, and so all my training is building in and around those. So having those, that's the toughest. Like not having that I was like floundering last year. Like mentally, I was crushed, and like depression, the whole bit. Like I did not think it would affect me as bad as it did.
Wow. And we can, Robbie wrote a great article about his recovery last year on our site that, it's hitting home for people now, because I think a lot of people were prepared for races and now they have to rearrange. But how fast was your fitness able to recover after you got out of the boot?
It took a while, and I'm still, my calf, so like my Achilles is really healed, but like being in a boot for that long, like the muscles in my foot and my calf are 70% still.
Oh man.
They say I'm just over a year post surgery, and they say probably 18 months.
Oh man.
I'm 100%.
And that was a selfish question. I've been struggling with a injury for like 10 weeks now. I've been able to kind of run, but then I go backwards and forwards. Like I was feeling better and had a really good 10-mile run, and then had to take a couple of days off after that. I came back and tried to do another 10-mile run this weekend. It was just miserable. And the patience, and you talk about depression and stuff like that. It's just so hard.
We don't use the running. If it's just a pure fitness thing, like, dude, your pure fitness comes back a lot quicker than you think. Like, but it's 99% of us don't use running as just a fitness tool, right? It's a mental tool. Like I'm a better employee, I'm a better father, I'm a better husband because I run. And you take that part out of it, like I can't how to process. Like I was like 100%. Ask Jamie. She and I would fight, and she'd yell at me, and I'd yell at her. Like, hey, and she's my team manager, and just wanted to come do stuff. Like I'm like, and she would tell me, no, you need to chill, and like I was just a dick. And so I'm a much better person when I can process things by myself on the run, work through those things. And so that's the hardest part. And then especially those like big injuries like mine with the Achilles, where it just shuts you down and you're forced to do it. Like it's almost better than like when you have something nagging that like you got to take a rest, and you should just do a rest.
Yeah.
That's the worst, man. It's tough.
I had to bail on, I was on a run today that I had to bail midway because I was like, if I keep running, I'm just going to cause more problems.
Hey, you're smarter than most. Like
well, part of me is then it gets into the psychology of like, am I not being tough? But then I was like, I know what I'm doing at this point. But
it's trusting your own body, like not get sucked into what tough is or what anything else is, anybody else's training, because it's so personal.
Yeah.
What doesn't.
But to your point though, like running being a mental tool, if I meet somebody who's a real dick, I try to get them into running. Anyway, what are you wearing these days? What are you running in?
I'm running the Machina. Like,
okay.
So we have
even on trails.
So the Machina. I can talk about this because you guys had Smiley on 2 weeks. So the Machina Trail, that's been my baby for a while. Like I've been talking and working on that shoe for a couple of years. You've
been helping develop that one.
With the team down there, and that's my shoe's kind of mercurial a little bit. It's gone up, gone down, but it's really been my baby. So I run in that for most everything. That's
Brian Tolbert tuned.
Mm-hmm. That was the first one we got the Mustache on. It had was a prototype version that had a mustache early on. So I saved those and put them, they're on my shelf actually, but yeah, no,
That's
but
awesome.
you know what? I run a lot of, on the, road version on the trail too.
Okay. Like if it's buffed out and
Yeah.
just you don't need it.
Like mountain bike type trails that we have around here. It's great. Like it runs really, really well. Like that FKT I did a couple weeks ago, that was on the Mackinac Road.
All right. One of our favorite fans here, Robbie, he wants to know about the horse pulling ski thing. And if people haven't seen this, Brian posted a video of basically, you know, some people get motorboats and ski behind those. This looked more like, you tell me, it must be a sport, right?
It I'm a king of niche sports, man. That's my jam. Like, but it's called Skijoring. It's like a Western type that combines real fast horses pulling skiers, and you have to go like a water skier. You have to go around gates and jumps, and it's usually a straight pull. But it's a great time. We have one of the there's not a ton of them. There's probably 10 races in the West, but like there's like rodeo money. Like there's way more money in skijoring race prize purses than there is in trail running by far.
So when you say rodeo money, for the people out here on the East Coast, is that big?
Rodeo you make money at. Like, and you go and you chase, like winners make, 5-10 grand, and in
Wow.
get a buckle, you get the whole thing. And so that mindset pushes over to it. So there's so we have one here, and I'm actually on the board for it now here locally, because I got a lot of time on my hands. But it was a $17,000 prize purse last year.
Wow.
They're split between the skier, the rider, and the horse owner. So
where's the money usually come from? Does it come from participants or are there sponsors?
Sponsor. I mean, we had some parts of the participants that went to it, but a lot of it's the sponsors.
Like who would be a sponsor for that? Is it the ski company or the horse company?
Coca-Cola. We had like local car dealerships. We had some Western wear, Wrangler, those kind of things, like Western wear that and some money. And we had a lot of big sponsors like that kind of come in, but it's so weird.
Did I see you go across water though at the end?
No, it's super iced up. Actually, it looks like super iced up. So, but we build it's a straight shot and the horse runs down the middle, and it's tighter. The faster you go, the harder it is to make all the gates, and you get penalized. But then there's jumps, big jumps, like 6 foot tall jumps to flat, and like all kinds of weird stuff that's on it. And yeah, I've done it 4 years now. We've had it here, and I've done it in the pro class. Yeah, every year except for this last year. I promised my wife I would not, because I was still rehabbing Achilles.
And obviously, you don't need a mountain for this. You can do this anyway.
Flats, like it's meant to be on the flat, and do it like they do one in Leadville that's right down Main Street.
Oh, that's awesome.
They do one up in Montana they bring snow in on the main street and do it right there. But
Leadville for me is a special place because they had the cheapest liquor shots of any town I've ever been in. Like you went in this one place and they had a board. It was like $1.
And it's high, so you didn't need a lot.
No, I was also in the middle of a stage race, so I didn't have that much. But
it's a stage trail race, right? You're talking Trans Rockies.
Yeah.
You're fine. Like that's the joy of trail racing.
Yeah.
You want a beer? Fine, eat it.
Well, luckily for me, I had done it twice. So the first year I did it, I was a little nervous. I was like, Rockies, they seem giant.
Yeah.
I'm a sea level guy.
Yeah.
And I'm terrified. Second year, I was like, yeah, I could have a shot and be fine. I'll be okay.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
I was bummed. I was coming to that race this year. I was going to team up with Josh Drunk, who won it last year, and he's one of our boys. He's actually the newest member of the Black
UA
Arrow
team.
Yeah, well, Black Arrows run crew. So he's part of UA team, but now we brought him into the crew.
That's interesting. Yeah, when the first year I ran, Max King was running it,
Yeah.
and they had Anna Frost
Oh yeah.
and like a whole handful of like really
Heavy.
like power runners. And Max King was running so well that the last day he said he would run in a skirt and still beat everybody. And he put on a running skirt and destroyed the course.
That's Max for you, dude. There's not a guy I'm in the running world that like, dude, he's the scariest guy to race against. Like, he's the nicest guy, and I've raced him a bunch of times. But dude, that dude will. I've never seen anybody turn themselves more inside out to beat you. He will do everything possible. He will do it all, and he just guts it out on stuff that you just, from short to long to technical to flat to climbing, doesn't matter, dude. He'll beat you. He wants to win.
And what was fun about Trans Rockies was that, like, so, even, you get around the trail running, and it was fun. I got to meet you at Bachelor.
Yeah.
But with the Trans Rockies, since you're camping every night,
Oh, yeah.
you get to hang out with people that, normally you don't get to see on the race course. Like, they're out in front of you, and, you get to see them. I don't get to see them. But, like the leaders of the pack, you might see them at the start and the end of a race, but Trans Rockies, you get to have a beer with them at the end of the run.
You hang out for like 3 or 4 days with them. Like, after the race is a small part of the whole thing.
Yeah. And that was another weird thing because we did a 6-day.
Yeah.
And, it is, you get up in the morning, you go for your run. Even in the Rockies, a 20-mile run max is, if you're going real slow, 5-6 hours. And you get there and you got the rest of the day, and the food was great.
Yeah. You just hang. Like, I know I was real excited for it this year. Next year we'll go back with it. I'm a little scared. Josh is a beast, and he was a beast last year. And I was like, man, I don't know if I'm back to that kind of speed.
Yeah, if you can keep up with them.
Yeah.
Well, I have to tell you, that race is probably one of my favorite races. I ran it before Under Armour was in it, so I haven't experienced the Under Armour. Fantastic race. So.
Yeah, they do a great job, and it'll come back strong. I'm excited for other years.
Yeah. Well, this was awesome. It was great catching up. Let me tell you one thing. This will be on YouTube later. We take it like right now. Yes. Rachel, who does our editing, is recording it on the computer. She just takes it and formats it for YouTube. You won't have words all over your face and all that stuff. So people will be able to watch this again. It'll also be here live on Instagram. So if you missed this, you'll be able to catch the full thing throughout the day and until tomorrow. But yeah, anything that you want to pimp out or promote, Coke or Pepsi?
Nah, man, I'm a Coke guy.
That's two now. Brian also.
Was Beckstead a Coke guy too?
Yeah.
My neighbor, Brian Beckstead. Yeah, man, this is always fun. Anytime. I love to talk shit. Maybe next time we can do it, we'll talk shoes more. Because, dude, I'm a total shoe nerd, and it's partly because of you, dude.
Really, I'd love. We can do one just on shoes. Let me know when the next Under Armour hits, and we'll have you on, and we can talk about that. You can compare it to some other shoes, and we can see. Are you running in stuff that's not Under Armour?
A little bit, but not as much. Like, I've got enough shoes to try and like.
Yeah. After a while, it's hard to spend money on it.
Yeah, I mean, and like we're testing so many push with shoes right now, so like I can't keep up on it. There's a lot of cool shoes out that I'm like, man, I'd like to run in that and try that shoe out. Like, there's some stuff. I think there's some great, like, for the first time in the shoe world, like, things are evolving and things are like changing. Like, in the last few years, like, say what you want about 4%, they changed the game for everyone.
Yeah. I feel like the same thing happened early on when Born to Run came out. We started getting lighter, more minimal shoes. Yeah. And now we've got these foams that people are like, let's see what a hypercritical foam feels like under your foot. Let's see what, these do. And yeah, it's blown up.
It's cool. So like, I love nerding out on all of that stuff. And
all right, well, get your hands on some Under Armour shoes that we haven't seen, and we'll have you on and you can walk us through them and talk to us about them.
Yeah, we'll talk through some cool stuff. That'd be fun.
All right. Well, take care. Take care of the family, and I hope your mom does better.
Yeah.
and comes through, and hopefully we're all back traveling and racing and having fun again.
Hopefully we're back for like Baltimore Run Fest, something this fall. Like
I love it. Fingers crossed for Baltimore Run Fest because it's such a good time. But you know, hell, there'll be plenty of opportunities hopefully for us in the future.
Luckily, we make it out to Baltimore every once in a while. We're all right. We'll make it.
All right, let's do it.
Dude, you got to get Casey Jarvis on.
All right.
Casey.
I got to see if I'm following him on Instagram. What's his Instagram?
He's not an Instagram guy, but he's the new head of design for UA.
Okay.
Overall, and he's a great buddy of mine. He actually grew up in town here, and his little brother and his wife's little brother were my best friends growing up. And he came from Black Diamond and Nike.
Oh, awesome!
And like his shoe case is like, yeah, it's crazy. But dude, you got to get him to talk. He's a local. He's in Baltimore now, and like.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yes. Let's set it up.
Oh, he's a great guy. So yeah, you'd have a fun talk with him. His knowledge of that kind of stuff of shoe design is crazy. I mean, he went from designing Hummers out of college to the LeBron shoes, the Nike Frees, all that stuff, and then came to BD and did all their stuff, and now doing awesome stuff at UA. So
awesome. I'll have to check him out. Yeah, definitely. Hey, hook me up with an email or something, and
yeah,
we'll see if we can get him on. But we got to get him on Instagram.
Yeah, I mean, I think he might have some lurking account.
He's probably got like one of those creeper accounts.
We'll create an account just for that. Just so we can get, and I know all his kids got one, so it's all right. He'll figure it out.
All right. Awesome, bud.
Yeah, good stuff.
All right, let's catch up soon.
Thanks, guys. See you, man.